This boy has lived in a sterile, protected warehouse since birth. Because he was born with no immunity, a small germ could kill him instantly. After 4 years in hospital, his parents took Charlie home to give him a safe environment to live in. His mother built a giant bubble at home. While the germs were kept out, Charlie had everything he needed. A soft cot, lots of toys. Mom and dad could touch Charlie through rubber gloves. And so it grew up day by day. His mom read to him every day, made him good food, taught him how to learn. And when the neighbors, if any of the neighborhood kids teased him, he chased them away with a water pistol. Brought up in a loving environment, Charlie was happy, naive and content with his life. On Charlie's 16th birthday, he didn't get a car, but he did get an electric guitar. Charlie was so happy that he felt he was the happiest boy in the world, until he saw a beautiful girl, Mary, moving next door. Mary smiled sweetly and Charlie fell in love with her. He couldn't even listen to his mom's bedtime stories. Every day he stood at the window pretending to clean the window, but in fact, he enjoyed watching Mary wash the car. Soon Mary heard from the other neighbors about the bubble boy. She was very curious and came to visit. As soon as she entered the living room, Mary saw a long, thick pipe that Charlie used for his walks. She took a step and went upstairs to Charlie's room. Although the young man looked silly, but Mary thought he was very kind and was filled with good feelings inside. To be friends with Mary, Charlie offered to teach her to play the guitar. They became closer and closer, sunbathing together, playing together, doing their hair together. Charlie's dull life became colorful. He also got a bubble hamster from Mary. On Mary's birthday, she was drunk. She found Charlie in the middle of the night to ask for a birthday kiss. But Charlie did not open the door to the bubble room, because if he did, he would be in danger. Charlie is afraid. He knows they can't be together, because he can only live in the bubble. Anyway, his retreat changed everything. It wasn't long before Mary got a boyfriend and Charlie was lost. But there was nothing Charlie could do but cling helplessly to the edge of the bubble. Soon, Mary brought him even sadder news. The boy had lived in the bubble for 16 years and had never seen the outside world. Charlie is already unhappy, and the girl he likes tells him she's getting married. The wedding is far away in Nicaragua Falls. Charlie was sad to return the bubble hamster she gave him. He pretends not to care about Mary and says goodbye to her. After Mary leaves in disgust, Charlie opened the present she had left for him. He found a crystal ball with a pair of little people holding hands, and he said, "I love you." As if struck by something, Charlie made a decision he never thought possible. He was going to get out of the bubble and take Mary back from her boyfriend. Charlie spent 3 days making himself a bubble uniform. When his parents weren't looking, he went out of the house for the first time in his life. Charlie had his first close encounter with the earth, and the journey to find Mary was about to begin. The taste of freedom excites Charlie, but the journey was long and he couldn't afford a car, so he had to walk. As a result, he was hit by a car full of religious people, but luckily he was protected by a bubble suit. After hearing Charlie's plan, the crowd decided to give him a lift, but Charlie was thrown out of the car for ridiculing their beliefs. On the other hand, Charlie's parents, realizing he was missing, set off in a hurry to find their son. Charlie was left on the road and had to keep walking. Fortunately, he met an old man on a motorcycle. He took Charlie, who had never left home, to Las Vegas. The two of them gambled all night, but the uncle was so obsessed with molesting girls that he refused to go any further. Charlie had to use the coins he found on the floor to buy a small motorcycle and set off again alone. But he happened to meet his parents, who were looking for him. The father saw his son with some concern, and a careless Charlie ran straight into the fly. The inertia of the bubble uniform knocked Charlie into a railway carriage. He wakes up to find himself in the middle of a group of deformed people. They are members of a circus. The leader of the troupe is a dwarf. Seeing how strange Charlie was trapped in the bubble, he wanted to keep him in his circus, but Charlie refused, and with a backhanded blow, knocked the leader out. So the group of deformed people immediately packed their bags to escape the leader's control. Wanted to follow Charlie, but Charlie refused. He had to do the wedding robbery alone. Charlie continued on his way, by chance rescued by a group of soldiers. An Indian uncle. The Indian uncle decided to take him with him in return for his kindness. But in the middle of the journey, he ran over a cow. In India, cows are considered sacred, so that Indian uncle had to stop to atone for his sins and give the cow a supernatural blessing. Charlie had to travel alone again. Late at night, he enters a small town of 10 people. He wins $500 by wrestling a beautiful woman in the mud. He gets into a taxi with a big man. This old man is amazing. He can't drive for 8 hours when he's asleep. Charlie realized something was wrong and tried to wake him up, but he was thrown off by the old man sleepwalking. Luckily, the air bubble was strong enough. Unharmed, Charlie found a shop and called Mary, but her boyfriend got the call. Mary's boyfriend said he could only live in the bubble forever. How could he give Mary happiness? Charlie finally came to his senses. He was sitting by the side of the road drinking when his parents found him by chance. On the way home, Charlie was very sad. Seeing him like this, his dad felt very guilty and encouraged him to be brave one last time while his mom went to the toilet. Charlie jumped out of the car and got into a helicopter on the side of the road. He looked at the driver's seat. Isn't that the grandfather who was asleep and driving? He found out it was his twin brother. On the other hand, Mary's wedding had already begun. Charlie took the plane all the way to the waterfall. It is true that the grandfather's brother is just as unreliable as the grandfather. The dangerous mission threw Charlie straight into the waterfall. Charlie floating down the waterfall just before the priest led the couple to say their vows. He emerged in time to take off his bubble suit and confessed his feelings to Mary.
I'd rather spend one man holding you than the rest of my life knowing I never could.
But soon Charlie collapsed from exposure. Mary was so worried, she called for him. Just then, Charlie's parents arrived in a hurry. Mom looked at her son and cried, but Dad told Mom to tell the truth. Charlie was not dead. He had been cured of his illness since he was 4 years old. To protect Charlie from the dangers of the outside world, Mom had lied to keep him in the bubble. However, Charlie did not blame his mother. He knew it was his mother's love. And then Charlie turned to look at Mary because he was not going to die. Then there was no barrier to their love. It didn't take long. They were married. Indian uncles, religious people, bikers, and everyone from the circus. They all gathered to give them their blessings. The twin masters drove the wedding car for them to a happy future. In the 1970s, a little boy in America lived his life in a bubble. People rarely remembered his name. They just called him Bubble Boy. From the time he was born until he died at the age of 12. He lived in a specially made sterile bubble. The Bubble Boy in the film eventually had a happy ending, but the Bubble Boy in real life still cannot beat the disease. But the good thing is that at the end of his life, with nothing to stop him, he got a kiss from his mother. So that's the end of today's story. Remember to comment and like if you like it. See you next time.